Hey, this is KC9VKV, and who we got on the other end there?
This is Chuck, November 3, Whiskey Bravo Sierra.
Roger, Chuck, and whereabouts are you located, sir?
Located on the eastern shore of Maryland, a little town called Federalsburg.
Roger, what's that close to?
Let's see, probably the best city to tell you would be like Dover, Delaware. I'm about 30 miles southwest of Dover, Delaware, right on the Maryland-Delaware line.
Roger that. Well, you sounded mighty good. What kind of equipment lineup are you running?
At the moment, running a Flex 6300, almost 1300 watts out from a TL922 Alpha Kenwood amp. And the antenna is a full-wave delta loop for 40 meters at 50 feet there, over.
Roger, roger. Now, what kind of space does a full-wave loop for 40 meters occupy?
It's not too bad, probably about 1/8 of an acre.
Roger. Now, I'm assuming this is a horizontal loop, Roger?
Yeah, horizontal, and kind of like between both horizontal and vertical. It comes down at a slope there, over.
Roger, roger. Now, slope. Oh, I had a sloping dipole that was really difficult to tune to get the SWR down, and I finally I lost my high position in the tree and wound up putting that high side element to about the second limb on that tree, which made it run almost parallel to the ground side of that dipole, and lo and behold, my SWR dropped right back where it should be, and I just couldn't get that SWR down with the sloper, and I just came to the conclusion that there was such a difference between the high side and the low side of that dipole that it just wouldn't tune, Roger.
QSO, yeah, it all depends on how, what the angle is too, with the inverted V-type configuration, if that's what you're talking about. But I didn't have that much problems tuning this. When I went off the spec, through the mathematics, but it was about 3 feet too short to be where I wanted it on the band, and just add a 3-foot section to it, and right here it's about 1.3 to 1. So I figured that's good enough. No sense in trying to split hairs there, over.
Oh, roger that. Now you're running without an antenna tuner?
Yep, direct right into the right into the antenna through coax.
Roger, roger. And can you tune from one end of the band to the other? I mean, usually, you have build-up SWR on either end of the antenna or the spectrum, the band, Roger.
Yeah, it'll do the whole band. I mean, the phone portion pretty well, from 125 all the way up to to the end of the band here, in less than 2 to 1.
Oh, Roger. Now that 6300, that's not an SDR, right?
Oh yeah, it's 100% SDR.
Oh, Roger, Roger. So you've got the waterfall and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's got the spectrum scope, the waterfall, it's the whole 9 yards. Everything's on screen. It's point and click.
Oh, Roger that. Now, where were you before you got the 6300?
I had a Icon 6500, 6500, and I had it for a little while, and but I figured I'd go with the Flex and see how that worked out. I wasn't too sure if I was going to like the SDR, but it grew on me pretty quick. I thought it'd be a lot harder learning curve. But it wasn't that bad. It took me a few days to figure it all out. But once you set it, you really don't have to do anything to it. Just go to whatever band you want to go to and what frequency, and you can pretty much make whatever filter you want with it by dragging how wide the filter is going to be without any issue. It's pretty quick.
Roger, did you notice much of a difference between that receiver and the receiver that you were using before that?
Yeah, this one's a lot better, to be honest with you. It seems to be, way more intelligible. But, this thing also comes out in stereo, so I got 2 Bose speakers hooked to it, so, you got to give it to that, too. So a much nicer speaker system and in stereo, so it definitely sounds better.
Roger. Now, the stereo, is that two monos, or do they do a little processing, stereo processing on that?
Oh, it's all processed. I've got a graphic equalizer for in and out on this, so I can make it whatever I want to sound like, in or out.
Roger. Ultimate flexibility, Roger.
Yeah, I guess that's why they call it a flex.
And whose microphone are you running?
I'm using a Yaesu MD100.
Ah, Roger. Now that's not. Well, let's see here. That's not a Bob Heil, Roger.
No. They recommend anything Yaesu with these guys. They just plug and play. You just screw it in there without any modification at all.
Roger. Now, do you have the bass unit for that? I mean, the microphone bass unit.
Yeah, it looks like an MC60 type microphone.
Roger. Well, it sounds mighty good. You got you're on top of it as far as EQ. It sounds really good, Roger.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I had a lot of help with it with some other Flex users when I first got this thing, and they spent about an hour with me on the air and really trimmed it out real well.
Roger, does sound good, sir. We appreciate it. And again, we are running our QSO-VLOG for Friday morning for our YouTube page. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our QSO-VLOG page. And usually we have so many folks in it that instead of being able to put it, each call sign in the title, we just call it my group. And it goes then by date and by frequency. So if you want to, check out your station, which is sounding mighty choice, you would go to YouTube and do the call letter search, and then look for that QSO-VLOG for the date, which is what is that? 1018, and the frequency 7189. Roger.
QSO, I'll look that up. Kind of interesting. So what got you into doing this?
Usually we post them up in about 2 days. We'll get it up there within the next 2 days, Roger.
Okay, well, I'll look it up. All right, I'm going to get out of here and I'll say 7-3. See, I've been in here for about 3 hours with rag chewing, so I'm going to take a break and do some house chores here, because the day's actually starting to go by here. But I do appreciate you picking me up, and the QSO is excellent, and perhaps we'll run across you again here on 40 meters. So with that, I'll say 7-3s, and good BX, and have fun. This is M3, WBS, Slower, Maryland.
Roger, check. 3's that away, sir. Sounded mighty good. We'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. And this is KC9VKV for our Friday morning QSO-VLOG segment. If you're tooling through the band and want to check out what your station sounds like, give me a call, and we'll QSO for a bit. And I am video recording this along with audio, and then we'll in a couple of days post it up on our YouTube page, which is KC9VKV. It would be the YouTube search, and that'll bring up the QSO-VLOG page. This is KC9VKV. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. We're going from up in Canada to down in Miami, across from New York to New Mexico, from Montreal. I couldn't remember that. Montreal to Miami, and New York to New Mexico. This is KC9VKV and the Friday morning QSO-VLOG. This is KC9VKV Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and the Friday morning QSO-VLOG recording session. If you want to hear what your station sounds like, you give me a shout and we'll do some QSO, and I'll be recording it, and then in a couple of days I'll post it up on my YouTube page. It's KC9VKV.
KC9VKV, Kilo 1 Uniform India.
Station calling, I got the Kilo 1 part of the call. Could you give me the rest slowly, phonetically?
Roger, it's Kilowatt 1 United Italy, Kilowatt 1 Uniform India. Over.
Kilowatt 1 Uniform India. Roger, roger. Got you there, sir. The name here is Jim Juliet India Mike. Roger.
Roger, Jim. Nice to meet you. My name is Rob, Romeo Oscar Bravo. We are on Cape Cod, Southeastern Massachusetts. Over.
Roger, roger. Come back with your name one more time, please.
Roger, my name is Rob, short for Robert. So Romeo Oscar Bravo. Over.
Roger, roger, Rob. I assume you're running about 100 watts. Let me dump down. I'll give you 100 watts. This is about 100 watts here. About 100 watts here, and back to KW. Roger, roger.
Yeah, leave the linear on, Jim. The condition's not good enough for the 100 watts to do the job, over.
Roger, roger. Well, we are recording, so we're trying to always put the best foot forward there, so we can actually hear what a station sounds like, And right now, yours has got just a little bit of noise on it, so it's not as clean as it could be, but we are capturing it, Roger.
KJ4 Zulu Mike Victor.
Stand by, Terrence.
Running about 1,500 watts on peak power.
Oh, you are running 1,500 right now?
13,1300, over.
1300. Okay, well, we've not got good conditions this morning, Rob. I've got another good buddy in there, Terrence. Can you copy Rob?
Yeah, I copy Rob, yo. Top of the good morning to you, man. Sounding really good, man. You're booming in here this morning, Roger.
Roger, we're doing our morning QSO-VLOG recording. We have our YouTube page where we do recording Airchecks of stations and then post them later so folks can see what their station's actually sounding like. We're using a direct audio line out of the receiver, so it's none of this camera mic in somebody's room, and you kind of wind up sounding more like the guy's room than your station, Roger.
Yeah, Roger, Nat. So, am I being recorded also?
Absolutely, sir, you are.
Good deal. I never heard my station before, and I was so curious to really know, I wanted to see what it sounded like. So, man, I really appreciate that there, Jim. Sounding good. Thank you, man.
Roger, roger. If you go to YouTube, do the call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. That'll bring you to our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page, this QSO-VLOG will be entitled My Group, and the date 8/10/18, and the frequency 7189. Because usually we have so many folks in there, we can't get all their call signs on one title, Roger.
Yeah, Roger on that there. Good deal. Well, good deal there, Jim. I tell you what, I'm going to do it just that way. And I want to check it out. I'm going to YouTube now. So, man, that's awesome. I never heard myself. I just wanted to hear. Is the audio okay on this side, over?
Oh, yeah. And this QSO will be posting in a couple of days. Roger, roger?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I got you set up so that anytime you send a link or something, it shows up in my email, and then that way I would be able to see it. So, man, that's awesome there, Jim. I really appreciate it. But other than that, man, you been okay?
Roger, sir. Yeah, so we've been busy doing summer cleaning, I guess. We have two sheds, a small one and a big one. And the big one I haven't been into for 25 years, man. It's not been possible to actually gain entrance to it for 25 years because of all the stuff in there, So we have spent the last 3 months kind of cleaning house, Roger.
Yeah, Roger on that. Good deal. Well, I tell you what, Jim, I'm in the process of actually building another antenna system. I'm thinking about doing a sloper, some sort of sloper antenna. And I've been doing a little bit of reading on it, and it seems like it just might be a pretty good antenna, given my antenna constraints on this side. It's going to give me some vertical polarity, and hopefully, if I do it right and put it on that 45-degree angle, then most of my signal will go out into the atmosphere with a very low takeoff angle. And from what I understand, or from what I read, is that it's a very good antenna, and it's kind of like some people say it's directional, but I was reading that it's omnidirectional as well. So it should be interesting to see what type of responses, or where exactly it's going to be pointed, or where I receive most of my traffic from, and that will be an indicator where I'm traveling to. Roger.
Oh, roger that. Now, I did have a sloper, a dipole sloper, and I'll tell you what, now, if you run a dipole sloper, you will have much difficulty in getting the SWR down, because, as I have come to conclude, there's a differential between the position to ground, between the high side and the low side, and since it's a sloper, you're obviously running the high side up to the top of the tree, and because of that, there's a difference in similarity between the two ends of the dipole, and it's just really hard to get that SWR down. Now, I'll tell you what, I lost my high position in the tree, and I wound up having to run temporarily to the second limb of that tree, which was about 25 feet or so. So what it meant was that my dipole antenna was pretty much horizontal equal between the low side and the high side. And voila, all of a sudden my SWR was 1.01. You know, and I'd been working for 2 years trying to get that sloper down that way, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Now, what bands did it cover, over?
Oh, that was just an 80-meter dipole, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. So it was an 80-meter dipole, so you had 2 legs on it, Roger?
Yeah, Roger. No transformer, just a choke, Roger.
Yeah, okay. So the one I want to build is going to be just one single strand of wire, Roger.
You're going to do an end-fed, Roger?
Yeah, I'm thinking about end-fed, and go with the shield and the center core as one of them as a counterpoise or stuff. Well, I think the shield will probably be on my mast. So the mast that I'm going to use is metal mast, and I'm going to shield it to the mast, and that's going to actually act as an antenna itself, and then have the core soldered onto the wire itself. Maybe I need to put a choke in it or something like that, just to to watch the RF coming back into the shack. And I read that also too, Jim, that with that type of antenna, depending on the elevation from the ground at a feed point, the angle in which it's laying, it might throw the SWR off a little bit there. But anything between a 1 to 5 should be okay, Roger.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, I have kind of been working on a technique for tuning those, for dipoles anyway, and I do my SWR tuning on the ground side of the dipole and bringing it back on frequency on the high side of the dipole, and I keep going back and forth, and I'm running 3 inverted V's right now that are running 1.01 to 1, Roger.
Oh, man, that's awesome. That is awesome. It should be interesting, Jim. It should be interesting. So I'm really, really excited about the project, man. I got a couple different projects over here. Hey, Jim, I'm not going to tie it up, my friend. The other station, I heard you out there talking to them, so I'm going to let you guys get back to it, man. But really, really a pleasure talking to you, Jim. I will look forward to hearing this video or seeing a video on YouTube there. I try to catch all of your videos. You got so many of them out there, so it's going to be interesting just to hear myself. I never heard myself before in the air. So, hey, Jim, all the best to you, my friend. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll certainly look for you to get down the log. KJ4 Zulu Mike Victor.
Roger, Terrence. 3's that away. Like I say, we'll have this posted up in the next couple of days. Roger.
Roger, Jim.
This is KC9VKV. Rob, are you still out there, man?
Yeah, Roger, still listening.
Roger, Rob. Sorry about that. Terrence is a good buddy in the next door town from me, Roger.
Yeah, very good. I hear Terrence just fine. quite as tall as you are, but very valuable here on Cape Cod.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, I wish we had better conditions, man. I really wish we had better conditions, Roger.
Yeah, Roger, Roger. Well, you know, it's a pretty good hole on 40 meters this time of day to Indiana, so you're doing very, very well.
Roger, it looks like you're about 7 dB above my noise level on your audio peaks. About 7 dB above my noise level. I can't give you a real S-meter reading because I've got my front-end RF level control just in enough RF to get the job done. It's kind of like copying CW, you know, to get the best signal-to-noise ratio rather than have that front-end hyped up. We've just got it so we get the job done. Roger?
Roger, Roger. Well, it's doing the job for sure. And I've read your QRZ page, and I think I've been at this only slightly longer than you have, but my career wasn't in broadcasting, so you've had a very, very interesting career related to radio.
Roger, if you go to that that'll take you to my my main YouTube page, which is Jim Fergusson's radio story, and we have about 750 or 800 segments about all different kinds of specials and stuff that we did during our 50-year career. A lot of full-length music segments and a lot of comedy stuff. So, like I say, if you go to, if you follow that go-to off the QRZ page, that'll take you to our main page on YouTube. Roger.
Roger, Roger. It's amazing what you have on YouTube nowadays. I found a lot of very, very useful YouTube videos on how to do things, and it's really been a lifesaver many, many times.
That's a Roger. That's a Roger. YouTube has got so much information on how to, you know, gosh, you know, if you have a washer or dryer that's got a problem, you just crank in the model number, and here's a guy that has been doing those for about 40 years. That'll tell you where the magic screw is. That you turn that screw, and the whole thing opens up like a flower. Otherwise, you know, without that knowledge, it would take you 4 hours and a sledgehammer to get in there. Roger.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. And you know, really a whole bunch of helpful suggestions on how to tackle things. My lawnmower clutch cable decided to clutch up with it. I finally found it the next day I tried to mow the lawn. Yeah, I've been pushing that thing around, getting the feel of it, so I went on YouTube and I found an article on how to change the cable on my mower. Ordered the cable and actually ordered a new mower blade while I was at it, since I figured I might as well do that at the same time. And got it done first time, did it right, and that clutch works like a champ. So saved myself a bundle by not having to bring it in to somebody else to do it.
Oh, that's a Roger. That's a Roger. Now, Robert, I'm just out of curiosity. You know where your ALC position is on your multimeter? Can you check your ALC to be sure that your audio is all the way where it should be there, you know, right to... What I do is I go to just about the max line on the ALC. That's my peak reference. I try to stay within the ALC, but I definitely do try to hover right on the max side, and that way, you know, your audio on sideband is your signal strength. So if you, you know, are not really modulating too hard, your RF level is suffering quite a bit. So, you know, next transmission, maybe check your ALC to be sure your audio's up. Roger, Roger.
Hey, Roger, Roger. Yep, no, it seems to be picking pretty well, and I also have some compression on. I'll give you an example. This is the compression full on wide. This is the compression off. This is the compression off. Okay, this is the compression on wide again.
Roger, I had a static hit on one of those, but you know, it sounded almost better off. How much compression are you running, sir?
Not much. Hold on a minute. Compression on narrow. I don't imagine it sounds very much like this.
How does your reference to intensity? What is the reference to intensity?
Okay. Well, there are several positions on the compression. Narrow, I did it wide. I normally keep it on wide. In extreme narrow position. Over.
Roger. Now, are they referring to an EQ pattern on that?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, okay. And what about and that's the total intensity reference is broad and narrow or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much. Narrow and wide.
Yeah. You don't have a 0 to 10 compression level setting? Roger, I'm getting some burst of some kind of intermittent heavy static. Really comes up about 7 dB, about equal to your signal strength or your audio level above noise. What I would suggest usually is if you have a 0 to 10 compression ratio nomenclature, I would usually run it at about a 3 or a 4. About a 3 or a 4, and then if you have, well, I'm not sure what that narrow and stuff is, but I would try to seek a middle terminology on that, whatever it might be, like medium, and start with there. Roger.
If I'm looking at ALC, to tell you specifically where it is, because there is a red bar which indicates the maximum which goes up to 9 on the meter for ALC, and it's sitting at about 7. And so it's past the midpoint of the ALC range.
Roger, you're about now 4 dB above my noise level. What I'm usually looking for is about a 3 dB dynamic range. Without any modifications, your average peak modulation is going to be somewhere around 30%. Without any processing, your average peak modulation will be at about 30%. So what we really want to do is to bring that up to at least 60 or so, so we have some audio help there, and that's usually through a little bit of compression and then tailoring the audio frequency response curve to where it becomes favored on the intelligibility side as opposed to the muffled side, which usually means, if you have a 3-band EQ, I would leave the 1 KC middle or 2 KC middle or whatever it is. In other words, the middle control of the EQ I would leave flat, and then I would boost by half my capabilities the top end, and I would reduce by half my capabilities on the bottom end. Roger?
Roger. I'm going to look at the menu and taking a look and seeing what options the menu gives me in terms of tailoring things. Let's see, I don't see anything very useful here. I know that you can change the things like the codec for digital. I think you can change the response on transmit to make the roll-off at the top and the bottom ends different. Right now they're pretty wide open to them.
Roger, and I'm looking at your modulation on a VU meter, and there are instances where you're really punching through like 3 dB hotter than you were just a split second ago. So it's not, I don't think it's a question of conditions. I think it's more a question of your audio setup. Maybe try just a little bit more compression. Try like I say, if you got a 0 to 10 or something, try about halfway, so you don't have such wide excursions on your modulation range. Roger?
Roger. Okay, well, I turned the compression off, switches off at each point. And now as the compression is on the mid, and it's mid-setting on the compression tip, over.
Okay, I didn't notice very much difference between off and on. So I would say increase your compression effect. I don't know what else to call it there for you, but you know, most folks have got a 0 to 10 compression setting, so I'm just going to say increase your compression setting and try to get more compression on your dynamic range. Roger?
Hey, Roger. Well, this is where we started out with the compression set on wide, and I think it's pretty much the maximum compression that they recommend. Over.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, that sounds. I think that sounds better. I think you may have reached the pinnacle of success there. I don't know why they intend, you know, seem to want to make it difficult terminologies. You know, I mean, a compressor is an object that you crank in and crank out. You know, and I would think, you know, the normal thing is more or less. You know, if you have a 0 to 10, bring it up to 5, and you know you're running about halfway. Or whatever, you know, that I don't think you can get much more simplistic as far as terminologies of increase and decrease. Roger?
Comment?
Go ahead, comment.
Yeah, I've been listening. I'm not sure what radio he's running. This is W8JER. I'm looking at my radio and ICOM, and it has a button to push to change compression from on or off, and then if you push and hold, it will give you an opportunity to scale up, as you were mentioning to him. I pushed and held my compression button on wide, and it gave me the scale up, and I realized I was running no compression on the scale. So I did bump mine up to 3, but I always ran a little bit. I just wonder if that's what when he's mentioning his compression at low, mid, and wide, I guess were the terms. That's only the bandwidth. That's not controlling the compression at all. It may turn the compression on and off, but unless he presses and holds, if it's similar to an ICOM radio, you have to press and hold after you get that compression on at either low, mid, or wide, and then you get a scale to give the amount of compression over.
Roger, Roger. Now, are you in what, wide?
Yes, I'm in wide with about 3 on a scale of 3 compression on a scale up to 10.
Oh, you're excellent. You're running it absolutely correct. So, Rob, I would go to wide and then hold as you look at your numbers go up and put it at about a 3. Roger?
Yeah, Roger, I understand the recommendation. My radio does not work that way. I use an ICOM 7800. When I press the compression, it simply turns it around. It gives me the wide, mid, or narrow when I press it. And if I hold it, that's how I get the option between wide, mid, or narrow. And then if I hit the button briefly, it turns it on and off. I don't have the ability to simply press, hold, and then adjust.
Roger, Roger. What is the model number of your radio, sir?
It's a 7800.
7800?
That's correct.
Yeah, this is a 7600. I would think the 7800 would be far superior in its ability to adjust.
It is. I'm in the menu, though, and that appears to be where you have to adjust it, where you adjust all the roll-off in tones for bass and treble, etc., etc. It's under level set in the menu.
Okay, well, mine's right on the front panel. A row of buttons on the left side that I can push and turn. I can just push and turn the compression off. The compression is off, but I'm still in wide. Or I can now turn the compression on in wide, and then if I press and hold that same button that lets me switch those, it brings up a screen that has compression on, off, and it has the transmit bandwidth opportunity, and then to the right of that it says compression level with a sliding scale that I can adjust by turning the tuning knob, which I'm doing right now, and I'm up to a 10 compression now, and I'm turning down to a back down to that 3 or 4, I guess. But I think it's setting at a left setter back at a 3. That's where I'm at. But all those options are off of the front panel outside of the menu. So I just assumed that ICOM was. This is a simple way to get in there without going into any menus. This is W8JR.
Do you suppose that it is speech level that you're adjusting? Is that the nomenclature?
No, it's called comp level. Comp level. And that's when the compression is on. Now, if I turn the compression off, I can see the ALC is way less active. But what I'm looking at here when I tune the main dial is a slider to the right that says comp level. If I work on the right-hand side, I have a button below that says TBW, or transmitted bandwidth, and that lets me select wide, mid, or narrow. Now I'm on narrow without changing anything else. Comp still on, back to wide. All of that appears on the screen right off of this button. As soon as I press and hold this button on the left vertical side of the display, it brings these right up for full adjustment. Over.
Yeah, Roger. I was playing with the menu where it refers to speech level. This is K1UI, by the way. And I don't see any other adjustments here aside from the frequencies for narrow, mid, and wide in the menu. It says cycle level, speech level. It's got a bunch of tone adjustments for various modes, bass and treble. But nothing that shows compression level that I found so far.
Well, like I said, I'm not working out of the menu. I'm working off of that button right up front. But apparently, if you hold that button, you do not bring up another screen for any adjustments other than the bandwidth?
That's correct. Right now it's on wide comp, and if I hold that button, which I'll do right now, it goes to mid, and then it goes to narrow. But it doesn't give me any adjustments when I hold the button on any particular setting. It just to the next wide or narrow section when I do that.
Okay, yeah, I can tell the differences. Well, okay, well, I thought maybe I had fell in on something there that might be helpful, but obviously the 7600, I believe, came out way after the 7800, although it's not the same class of radio. It's definitely a downer, but it has this wonderful feature right up front without getting to any menus of changing the transmitted bandwidth and the compression level right here on the screen. I can just turn my frequency knob right now and I can go right up to a full 10 of compression and bang the heck out of the meter and see the fan running in the background. So I'm back to a 4. Anyway, I'll get out of here and let you folks work on this, and I guess I'll take a look at the 7800 manual and see how much it differs. 73 W8JER.
W8JER. What's the name there?
My name is John. I'm in Sturgis, Michigan. Over.
Roger, John. This is Jim, KC9VKV, and we are running our QSO-VLOG for Friday morning. So we're running audio and video for this QSO, and you might be interested in hearing your station. It's beautiful, and you have excellent control over it. You know exactly what you're doing, and the way you have it set right now, wide and 3 on compression, is absolutely perfect. We'll be posting this on YouTube in the next couple of days, so if you happen to go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you'll find a QSO marked My Group, and today's date, which is 18/10/18, and the frequency 7189. That will be the title. Roger?
Okay. Yeah, 7189 20 or 8 10 18. My group. That sounds very interesting. What was your name again? I was trying to write. I can't multitask. I can't write and hear at the same time. Over.
Roger. Name here is Jim. Juliet India Mike. Roger. And we're located near Louisville.
Okay, Jim. Well, you have an excellent signal, and obviously you're well aware of how to adjust your own signal for audio, because it's very much studio quality. What are you running for a rig? Over.
This is an older Yaesu 990. Roger.
Okay, Jim. Well, it sounds great. I'll take a look. I'll take a look for your YouTube, and I'll be very interested in watching that. Thanks again, Jim.
Roger, Roger, John. And this Aircheck is probably as close to perfection as you're going to find. We run a direct line out of the receiver. No microphone in the room, which sounds more like the room than the guy's signal. So this is as pristine as a capture as you can do. We go to particular links to be sure that the RF level in the front end is not into compression. So we're keeping the best signal to noise ratio possible. Roger.
Yeah, QSL. You are a steady, rock steady 10 over S9 on the meter here. Over.
Roger, thank you, John. Alrighty, I appreciate it, John, and thanks for the help there. Unfortunately, his radio, it doesn't seem to be as pliable as your radio technology-wise, Roger.
Yeah, I found the 7600 to be really, I can't afford a 7800, so that's where I'm at. Over.
Roger, yes. So that's the way it should be. That type of setup, that stuff should not be in menu. It should be outboard, Roger.
QSL.
Alrighty, thank you, sir. You have a real good morning. And if you were to check up on his radio on the YouTube or wherever you go, if you run across any revelations that might help him come back, we'll probably be here for a while.
Yeah, I'm going to go take a look, Jim, and I surely will if I see anything that looks familiar to what I'm doing and another way to get into it. I'll be back. WHJR.
Roger, Roger. Thank you, John. Rob, you still there, sir?
Yes, Jim, I am. I did want to comment that I have a 7300 here, and it works just the way that John was talking about. It's a lot more convenient than having to go into all the menus. They may have come up with a firmware upgrade that I haven't incorporated yet for the 7800 that does exactly what John recommends. In fact, it seems so obvious to me. And I'm looking at my comp meter, and hold on one second. No, it doesn't do anything. I'm looking at my compression level on the wide, and it peaks somewhere around 4 to 5. So I am getting some compression, but you'd think I would be able to adjust that. So I have to continue to look and see if there is another way to adjust the compression, above what is the bandwidth allows.
Roger that, Roger that. Well, that narrow and wide and all that stuff is referring to the audio bandpass of your transmitter. I would keep that on wide. That is not a reference to your compression level. That is a reference to the tonality of your audio signal. So I would leave that on wide, and then whatever else, that would be the compression level, I guess. So just leave that one thing on wide for sure, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Okay, I found the compression gain control. I feel stupid. There's a row of knobs at the bottom that were depressed, and you press them, they pop out. And one of them says compression, and I adjusted it upwards. Does that make any difference? Over?
Oh, yeah. Well, what number are you on now?
Well, it's about midpoint. It's a knob that's, that has the ability to go from one end of the stop to the other in about I would get 320 degrees or so out of the 360. And right now it's midway up and down.
Okay, maybe bring it up just a little more. Bring it up just a little more, and then go back and watch your ALC to be sure, readjust your ALC for the new compression setting, Roger. And you want to be just on the verge of max, just on the verge of max on your ALC reading.
Okay, I went higher on the compression. Thank you. Right back there. And I'm looking at the ALC. We're just about max on the ALC now.
Roger. Okay, so you're just about max on your ALC reading?
That's affirmative. And as far as the compression is concerned, I am, according to this, on scale, just about 6 dB of compression or so.
Roger. Well, I'm seeing your signal as a lot less dynamic range movement. So you are making a difference in your signal by compressing your audio, and you're increasing your average peak modulation now to probably about 50%, maybe 60, somewhere in there, as opposed to 30% where it would be when you first started without any modifications to the modulation. Roger.
Roger, Jim. Okay. I can see the difference also in the peak power reading, and it does appear to be staying up higher. And as long as the fidelity is acceptable, I'll leave it reading.
Roger. So, and do you have a separate mic level control?
I do have a separate mic level control.
And what is the setting on that?
It's about 11 o'clock.
I'd bring that up to about noon. Bring it up to about noon, and let me hear you.
Okay, this is with the mic level control at noon.
Go back.
Okay, give me a little bit more audio there.
Okay, this is about 11:30. About 11:30, over.
Roger. Go to noon. Let me hear you at noon.
Okay, I understand the breaking in and not identifying, so I don't know who to respond to.
Respond to Jim.
Okay, Jim, this is about noon. This is about noon now.
Yeah, I think that sounds better. I'm seeing your dynamic range now is about a 3 dB range, which is good. Roger.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll leave it here then. I appreciate the time and effort spent to try and help me to make this thing sound the way it ought to.
Roger, I think your audio signal is a lot better now, a lot more, or a lot less dynamic range, which is exactly what you want. So, Rob, let me say threes to you, sir, and you have a real good day. Roger.
Roger, Jim. And thanks again. This is K1UI.
This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor with the Friday morning QSO-VLOG recording. If you might have a station you want to hear the audio and see what it sounds like, give me a shout. We are recording.
This is Kilo November 4, Hotel Kilo Bravo.
Kilo November 4 station, give me the rest of your call sign.
Hotel Kilo Bravo. The name here is Zach.
And the name one more time.
Sure, let me give you whole name and whole call, whole name. It's Kilo November 4, Hotel Kilo Bravo. The name is Zach, Zulu Alpha Charlie Kilo.
Roger, Zach. Where are you located, sir?
I'm located in Tucker, Georgia, which is about 10 miles from Atlanta.
Roger, you sounded mighty good this morning. What kind of power are you running?
I'm running an ICOM 718 and it's 100 watts.
Roger. Well, you're brave. Sometimes, from past experiences on this frequency at this time, 100 watts is challenged. Roger. Roger, let me dump down to 100 watts and I'll show you what you're sounding like probably to me. We're down to 100 watts now. This is KC9VKV at 100 watts, and then we're back to KW. Roger.
You went down about 2S points when you went down to 100 watts.
Roger, roger. What kind of antenna are you running there, sir?
It's an NSET half-wave antenna. It's 135-foot wire. The high point is in the northwest, and the low point is in towards the south. The high point is probably 60 feet, low point is south.
Roger, roger. Well, conditions are shifting a little bit there. You're now about 2 dB above my noise level. Almost into my noise level, Roger. Anyway, Zach, we are running our QSO-VLOG for Friday morning, and if you'd like to hear what you sound like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up the QSO-VLOG page, and then look for a segment called My Group 81018, the date, and the frequency 7189. Roger, roger.
Roger that. I'll check out the YouTube. Tell me the last 3 letters you're called. Is it Victor, Charlie, Kilo, or I can get the last 3 mixed up?
Roger. Call sign is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Again, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Name is Jim. Roger.
Roger that, Jim. I pulled up your page here, your RZ page, and I'll look for you on YouTube. It looks like you might have a link posted here. So I appreciate it, and I'll try to find that video and listen back to it. This is Kilo November 4 Hotel Kilo Bravo 73.
Roger, roger, Zach. And that go-to on the QSZ page takes you to our main page, which is called Jim Ferguson's Radio Story. And that's all about a 50-year radio commercial broadcasting career. And our QSO-VLOG segments are a part of that, you know, and you can go directly to the QSO-VLOG by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. So 3 is Zach. We'll catch you later. It's KC9VKV. Boy, oh boy, getting some morning static burst here. Kind of sounds like Joe's bar at 3 in the morning. The fluorescent static, but all in a burst. Gosh, about a 7 dB signal strength burst from time to time. Anyway, this is KC9VKV, and we're doing our Friday morning QSO-VLOG recording. If you want to hear what your station sounds like, give us a call. KC9VKV, standing by.
Echo Alpha November.
The Echo Alpha November station. Come back with your whole call sign.
This is Kilo Echo 4, Echo Alpha November, KE4EAN. Handles Art, Alpha Romeo Tango. We're in Spartanburg, South Carolina. QSF.
Roger, roger, Art. Sounded mighty good this morning. What kind of radio are you running there?
We got a new ICOM 2300.
Roger, roger. Well, sounded mighty good. You're doing, what, how much power?
I didn't catch that last one phone ring. Say it again, please.
Oh, just asking how much power you're running?
Well, just barefoot, 100 watts. 100 watts into a R5 vertical, R5 homemade dipole.
Roger, roger. Well, you're for 100 watts. You're sounding mighty good. You know, this frequency at this time is not particularly conducive to 100 watts being very dominant at the 400 to 500, 600 mile range. Roger.
That's good, Bill. I realize that, but you were booming in here. I've got S9 over, a little bit over, and enjoying at this radio over about 8.5 and enjoying playing this positive responses with over.
Roger, Roger. Let me come down to 100 watts. We're down to about 100 watts now. That's what you sound like to me. Pretty much, I would assume, at the 100 watt level, and then we're back to the KW now. Roger.
Okay, you went from a 8 down to a 1.5 to 2.
Roger that. Roger that. You know, I've often wondered, amateur radio has, from the beginning, offered itself up as the emergency communications capabilities as a backup for public service, communications in case there's some kind of problem that amateur radio is going to step in. But, it would be bad to me, for that to occur, and amateur radio tried to step up. But, if we're sitting there at 100 watts and, it would not be good to say, well, we're sorry, but it was just a bad day, We would love to have helped, but unfortunately, it was just a bad day on 40 meters. So that's my spiel for having a KW sitting in the closet. Roger.
QSL. I agree. The biggest amp I have is 600. It's the 10-tech Hercules. It's only 600, and I don't run it that much. I just like to see what I can work with as a out-of-the-box radio. I also built a K2, which I'm running 15 watts on. You'd be surprised what you can do with that kind of thing.
Oh, Roger, that's all true, but the thing is, for me, we're running a QSO-VLOG, and we're trying to get everybody's signal documented as best as possible, and, if your station is back in the noise level, it's not going to sound as good as if it's knocking my doors off, and since I am recording it, and we'll probably be posting this QSO-VLOG in the next couple of days, it's so much nicer when you open up the package and all of a sudden your station is wall to wall as opposed to down towards the noise level. Roger.
That is correct. And your PTA again is what?
We're located 3 miles from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. Roger.
Okie doke. Well, we're in South Carolina here, upper western part, about 35 miles Blue Ridge Mountains. We're right at the foothills of Blue Ridge Mountains, so we're not to the coast. We're over in that area, kind of looking toward you,
Roger. Well, when I can hear you, you're sounding really good. Your audio's set up right, and modulation just sounds good. So I wouldn't change a thing, although I would reach back in that closet when necessary. Roger.
Well, if they say before, let me get back to the landline to come in, and we'll be on the list now. KE4EAN, clear after your final.
Roger. So we will be posting this on YouTube. This QSO-VLOG we will be posting on YouTube in the next couple of days. So if you want to hear what your station sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, KC9VKV, that'll bring up our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you'll find one segment called My Group, and the date 8/10/18, and the frequency 7189. So that's how we idea to, we usually talk to so many folks we couldn't put all their call signs in the title. It's just not long enough. So 3 is out of the way, and have yourself a good day. It's KC9VKV.
QSO.
And this is KC9VKV, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, with our Friday morning QSO-VLOG transmission and recording. If you might want to hear what your station sounds like, give us a call. We are recording, and we'll be posting it on YouTube. This is KC9VKV.
KC9VKV, hello, not working. KC9VKV, this is Whiskey 4, November, Charlie, Quebec.
Whiskey Charlie Quebec, Roger, Roger. The name here is Jim, Roger.
Hi, Jim. For some reason my ALC is acting poorly. Let me check I don't know what it is. Anyway, my name is Alan. I'm in Black Mountain near Asheville, North Carolina. You recorded me 2 months ago, I think. I don't get on that often. I'm just kind of a rag chewer, and it was really, really good to hear that. No need to do it again if it takes any effort. I don't understand why my ALC is not moving, but there's something not just right. But I guess you can copy me okay.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, you might want to fatten up just a little bit. You have a very large dynamic range. Might want to maybe run that compressor as a limiter. Maybe if you have a 0 to 10 running at about a 3 to try to fatten up that dynamic range just a little bit.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I think I have everything set the way that I usually do, and I checked the SWR. It's okay. Usually when I have the mic gain at this setting and I'm speaking this far from the mic, my LC operates as it normally does between 50 and 75%. Now it's like 5 to 10%. However, my peak reading watt meter, both of them, one built into the AL80B and then an external PAL-Star, are showing peaking up to about 700 watts. And when I was in the dummy load, I loaded in the CW mode 700. So I'm peaking as I should, but the ALC is not moving. Now, if I want to get close to the mic like this, now the ALC is acting normally, but my peak power did not increase at all, and I bet I'm distorted.
Negative, no. What's happening is your ALC reading is correct. You're running like only about 5% limiting, 5% auto level control, which you want to be in the mid scale of that, which is part of the compression limiting situation. Your dynamic range is just flowing from 0 to 100. Where you probably normally want to have a little fatter signal, maybe about a 3 dB dynamic range, which would fatten the signal up as opposed to just reading without any kind of processing at all. The radio, obviously, you want to get the best performance out of the radio that you can, and if you can fatten up that audio signal just a little bit, it helps down the road, and it helps all over,
Well, age here is 70, and I got a lot of prejudices and habits, and a lot of them are bad. And one of them is that I hate compression. If signals are good, there's no interference, and signals are strong, because the audio just sounds smooth and more natural. To me, compression is for like DX and difficult conditions. I always like a signal with no compression. I like a wide dynamic range. It sounds more like you're sitting and talking to the guy in your living room, and that's great if signals are really strong and there's no interference. But if conditions aren't real good, well, that's when compression comes in. I rarely run compression.
Oh, Roger. Well, I'm not talking about, suck up the vacuum cleaner and 3 rooms away. I just mean a little transparent processing. That's the thing. You don't want stuff sucking up between your words, but at the same time, just a little cap on that peak and you know, just a little fattening. But obviously, you sound great like you are, you know. And but I'm just saying, you know, down the road you might, you know, want to fatten up just a little bit, Roger.
Yeah, and you know, I may. I was up late last night. I couldn't sleep, and when I get to sleep, I've only been up about less than an hour, so maybe I'm my voice hasn't warmed up. I don't know, but the ALC meter is acting funny, but I don't care. And it seems to me that if I load it using in the CW or RIDI or to a certain output power, and then when I speak, if my peaks hit that most of the time, then that's the way it should be. So I guess I'll leave it alone. So just from when things are strong, when people say turn their processor totally off and then on, I almost always like it off. For example, I'd like to hear A/B. Do you have one switch you can throw to turn your processor so that you're not processing at all? Can you A/B for me?
No, you wouldn't believe the the setup here. I have more stuff tied to this input than the law allows, and then running a kilowatt next door to it is, you know, it's a Herculean feat. I've probably got 5 or 6 things on the input and 5 or 6 things on the output. But you know, if you were to speak closer to the microphone and looking in your ALC position to where you then begin to process at about 50% or about mid-scale on the meter movement, I'd like to hear that, Roger.
Well, this is the way I usually speak, and the ALC is mostly on the peg and occasionally goes as high as 5% right now. And my both peak reading watt meters are hitting about 700 watts, which is good as it'll do with this amount of driving power. Now, I'll do what you suggested. I'm about 6 inches from the mic. Now I'm 2 inches, 1 inch from the mic. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly the same peak power, but the ALC is hitting about 75%. Do you notice the difference?
Oh yeah. Your audio just fattened up a bunch. I mean, you just got so much louder. This similarly or seemingly louder. Obviously, your peak is still the same, but your average peak modulation comes up to about 60 or 70% when you're running your ALC in the mid position, Roger.
Comment?
I understand, but how does that translate to? How does it sound as far as fidelity? That is a voice that you'd like to listen to, natural sounding, no artificial exaggeration. Just like if I was talking next to me, is this kind of unnatural when I'm talking real close?
Right.
And is this a more natural and nicer sounding? Obviously, it doesn't have the punch. It's not going to cut through as well. But doesn't this sound better or no?
No, negative. You sound much better running about mid-scale on your ALC. And there's a break station out there. Let him go. Go ahead, break station.
Sir, this is M9GTO. I wanted to advise you that you're talking to KC9VKV, his middle initial. We just released him from the Central State Hospital about 6 months ago. You are dealing with a full-blown production manager of WHAS radio, and your audio sounds broadcast. He's blowing me out over here because he's giving me a 60 over. He's damn near running 10,000 watts over there because I know the guy that built the tuba that he's running. So I just wanted to advise you that you are talking to Dr. Frankenstein, and my name's Lou. How do you do? And the call is N9GTO.
N9GTO. Okay, Lou, I didn't get that message clearly. I'm talking back from the mic, hardly any ALC at all, the way I normally talk, and now I'm talking up where the other station likes it better. Do you like it like this, or do you prefer it back farther?
No, sir. I prefer the full ALC. You sound like a broadcast station. Over.
Oh, okay. So this is not the full ALC. This is the full ALC. This is what you prefer.
Yes, it's unbelievable, and I'm on an 80-meter inverted a double bazooka. I'm using a homebrew tuner in line with a 7300, no power, about 65 watts, and I'm 3 miles east of Jim Ferguson. Over.
Okay, well then you and the other station agree that I should be talking close to the mic. Something has changed. I have to go back and see what I did. It didn't used to be this way. I'm running a dipole at about 65 feet. It's in the woods, and it's got kudzu growing on it, and it's got kudzu growing on the ladder line that's feeding it, and that results in having to, even though it's a resident antenna, I have to put the tuner in there to tune out the kudzu. The rig is a Yaesu 3000. I'm using just the EQ. It has a 3-band equalizer, parametric equalizer, and all I'm using is that equalization, and I am running an AL80B. It'll do 1100 watts EP, and I'm running about 700, and that's it. And I'm talking close to the mic, as both of you gentlemen prefer, and about 75% ALC. And my bandwidth is set at 100 to 2900. Over.
Alan, I would leave everything setting the same and run that ALC at the mid position. Between that and 65%, 50, 65% in there, you sound beautiful. Now, we are recording this morning for our QSO-VLOG, and if you would like to hear yourself, we'll be posting this in the next couple of days. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our QSO-VLOG page, and this vlog will be entitled My Group, with today's date 8/10/18 and the frequency 7189. Roger.
Okay, I just 1 moment. Okay, I'd like to make a test here, and then I don't want to type the frequency. I am talking close to the mic, about 50-75% ALC. What I'm going to do is I'm going to back away to 6 inches the way I normally talk and increase my mic gain until I achieve the same ALC. So right now I've got the lower mic gain and I'm close to the mic. The ALC is about 60%. Now I've backed off from the 1, 2, 3. I've backed off from the mic, but I've increased my mic gain, and the ALC is also the same, 60%. You hear a difference?
Starting to hear just a little bit of the room. You know, the further back you work from the mic, other things start to come into play, like the echo bounce of the room. Not very much, but just a little bit. But there are other aspects that could be a problem. You know, a lot of times our Radio Shacks are not prime sound rooms. You know, and we have things like dogs, cats, and you know, all kinds of things to kids to deal with. So usually, you know, a closer mic situation is probably less distracting than one further away. But obviously, if if your Radio Shack does not have those competitions in the audio range, then you could, you know, run it wherever you feel comfortable. I run it right on top of the microphone with a windscreen, so I can't get any better average percentage of modulation, the consistency of it, because I am right there. There is no plus or minus inches. You know, I'm constant from you know, the get-go. So, but you know, obviously, I think the key is the ALC. If you run the ALC in the mid-range position, 50-60%, that will help your signal immensely, whether you're close mic'd or back off. Roger.
Could you back off like 2 inches? Let's hear you.
I'm sorry, I doubled with somebody. Go ahead.
Hold on, I was just going to get Jim. Jim, sir, I liked it when you were close talking the mic. I liked it better. And again, I'm not on a good antenna, so I'm on a wrong antenna. But Mr. Ferguson, could you give us a 2-inch back off of the mic and let's hear it?
Roger, I'm 2 inches off the mic now. I'm 2 inches off the mic now, and now I'm on top of the mic. Roger, Roger.
The 2 inches off the mic, Jim, you sound like Bob Howe and Rush Limbaugh. I just want to make an
2 inches is a significant improvement.
And I'm running the
and I'm taking your suggestion. I'm close talking the mic now, but I have backed the mic gain down.
About him being 2 inches off the mic, over.
You guys doubled for a lot of that, Lou. Or what did you say?
You being 2 inches off the mic, your signal got 1,000,000 times cleaner and better. It was unbelievable. And again, we're close, but I'm on the wrong antenna. The other gentleman down there you're talking to, did you notice the same thing when Jim went 2 inches off his mic, sir?
Yes, Jim he sounded just beautiful at 2 inches. A great improvement. He sounded, when he was up close, I could hear breath noise and I heard harshness. Now it's nice, mellow, it's just really nice. That moving back 2 inches made all the difference.
All right, let me do something here. This is a little different setting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little different setting. Roger.
Yeah, the harshness is there, and I don't hear breath noise. I don't think, but it's like it's too hot. I liked it when you moved. That first move you made back 2 inches. That's the best I've heard you.
Yes, go back here, Jimmy. Don't put it back where it was and go back 2 inches.
All right, this is. I'm looking at the modulation meter. This is a -5. This is a -5 right here. Roger.
Still too high.
Well, I mean, take the processor off in a -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That is Jim Ferguson.
Yeah, well, that and a quarter will get you nothing.
Jim, let me tell you, you're giving me a 40 over, and with all the other stuff, what you're doing is you're pushing the signal up past 3.1. With what you're doing right now, your signal is topping out at 3 kcs. You're 100 to 3 kcs, and when you push it, you're pushing the signal out of all the energy needs to be within the 3 kc bandwidth. And when you're pushing it past 3 kcs, and it's got the noise, breath, and everything else. I love to hear your voice like it does in the tornado area. And by the way, sir, if you go to Jim's vlog and type in the April 3rd tornado, you'll hear Jim at the true voice of what he is. And what happens is Jim Ferguson and myself are both Dr. Frankensteins. We're our worst enemy. And the meters are lying to Jim. Jim's saying one thing, but we have to go by, we see, hear, and speak in frequency, and we have to go by other people's opinions. And, sir, when you were close talking your mic before with the ALC down there, my name's Lou in 9GTO, and I didn't get your name, sir. but you were unbelievable. And then Jim came off 2 inches, and if you would have left everything alone, he would have been the great WHAS.
Well, yeah, I agree. The first move he made before he did anything, and I asked him, or no, maybe you asked him to move 2 inches back. Now, the way he sounded then, it was perfect, and that's really natural and nice. It's not punchy. It's not going to get through piles of QRM. It's not going to win any contest. But it sounded gorgeous, and any change he made after that wasn't as good. But that, it's a personal thing. That's just what I like to hear, and it might have something to do with the way I have, because my receiver is adjustable. The carrier points can be adjusted, and I have low cut and high cut receive that I can throw in. I've got some of that on there, so a lot of it may have to do with my receiver. I'm listening at 3.0, and so if somebody is broadcasting a fairly broad signal, good fidelity, I can hear most of it. But anyway, everybody sounds good. It's just that we're just kind of picking stuff up, and I don't really understand the theory that much. What I do is I transmit to another receiver. It's an old Kenwood 870, which has a lousy digital processing because it's their first attempt, and it's old rig and a high noise floor, but excellent audio. And what I'll do is I'll transmit into a dummy load and put a few inches of wire on the 870, and then I'll record on my computer using a sound recorder, and then listen to that, and I adjust my audio so that I like what I hear. It's not necessarily going to be what other people like, so audio is such a personal thing, and I know as I get older, I lose some of my highs, and I like more highs than a 40-year-old guy would. So anyway, but there's not a right and a wrong way. But when he backed off 2 inches, I liked it. You have excellent audio. You're not real strong, but that's because you're not running a lot of power. I'm in the mountains here, and so 700 watts in a dipole when you're up at 2,400 feet is okay. The problem is there's no directivity. I wish I had some kind of a phased array, but I tried that a couple times and never got it to work. W4NCQ near Asheville.
Well, Alan, you're sounding good now. Are you running about that 50% on the ALC?
I'm running about 50% on the ALC. I have turned my mic gain down and gotten closer to the mic because both you guys seem to like that better. But the ALC is running about 50 to 60%.
Roger. Sounds really good. I would leave it just like that. Yeah, I think the ALC reading is your, is the keystone to everything. If you run that ALC at about 50%, you'll be in good shape.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got a question for you. Is it illegal to me to ask my neighbor across the street to me to run weed eater string all the way across the street and then run it back to my antenna and pull it up across the street so that I'll be able to put my antenna back together the way it was?
Well, gosh, I don't know. It just depends on how fast you are.
Well, I mean, is it illegal?
I don't think so. I mean, if a car comes along, it's just going to pull your radio down the road.
No. If I was to go over, I'd lock the road off. I'd put the vehicle sideways. I'm going to do it today. Remember how we had the tree out there? And I just wanted to make sure, because everybody's telling me and the AM transmitter does not like where the antenna is. See, I've got one double bazooka pointed north, east, and the other one pointed north, and the AM transmitter does not like it at all. I'm hearing all kinds of crazy stuff. So it wants the antenna to be, north, south, east, or west. So I'm going to have to go back. I have an 800-foot roll of 090 weed-ear string, so I'm going to go across the street here in a minute and ask the neighbor if I can just go on and shoot a line over there and just get that antenna back up in the air. I just wanted your thoughts on it. I mean, if it snaps, all it's going to have is weed-ear string coming down, over.
Yeah, Roger, but you're not permanently putting an antenna over the street, Roger?
No, it's just a weed-ear string that's going to be holding it up on my property.
Roger, I wouldn't think so, but ultimately you won't have anything going over the street, right?
No, it'll be about 90 feet above, 60 feet above the street.
Oh, but you will have something that goes across the street.
Yes, going to a tree across the street, yes.
I don't know. That's it's kind of a gray area there, You're over the utilities right away, Roger.
All utilities are all in the back.
Well, you still have a highway right-of-ways.
Yeah, but 60 feet up in the air, and being 090 weed-ear string, it's only good for a couple 100 pounds. If something goes wrong, it'll just snap and come down, and all the antenna would be in the yard only. It wouldn't be on the property, right?
Oh, Roger. Alan, go ahead.
I'm almost positive if the antenna itself cannot be directly above the highway, so that if something breaks, that the actual antenna could fall in the street. And I'm pretty sure that goes for the weed eater. I think I might do it myself because it's not a big deal. I don't think you get into a lot of trouble. Technically, I think it's illegal to have the antenna or supporting wires over a public highway. You can think of a kid on a bicycle. What if that comes and hits him about neck high? That weed eater string could do some damage, even if it just had him lose his balance and you could get sued. But I think that's very unlikely. It's something I might do, but I think it's not legal. I'll tell you, as far as legality, I'm trying to get my commercial drone license, and boy, there's a lot of regulations there. And I crashed my drone not too long ago, and I'm trying to glue slippery plastics, polyolefins, polypropylene, polyethylene, and it's very, very difficult. I changed subjects there, sorry.
That's right. I just wondered if Lou had anything to add to that.
Well, the string would be 90 feet or 60 feet above the street. It's a two-lane road, a little cul-de-sac. It's not a highway. It's a two-lane road, 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, and the weed ear string would be approximately, again, non-metallic weed ear string, 090, a couple 100-pound strength. It would be about 60 feet above the property, and again, it's a cul-de-sac. And I just thought maybe, what your thoughts are on that, over.
Yeah, why can't you just wrap that on down the backside of your tree?
The tree's gone, Jimmy. They took the tree out.
I personally, I would go ahead and do it the way you describe it there. I think it's not legal, but I don't think it's dangerous, and I think I would go ahead if I were you and do it. I'm not advising you to do it, but I'm just saying I would probably do exactly what you're doing. Technically, I think it's illegal, but it's better to do what's safe and what's smart than to follow the letter of the law exactly sometimes. So I don't have a problem with what you're doing.
Well, there you go, Lou. You got a consensus of opinion that it's probably what we would do, but we're not telling you to do it.
I'll tell you what I would do. If there's a way you could do it, and it's the principle that I use when I'm hanging antennas with my drone. What you've got to do is you've got to always be working with, have a breakaway that is weaker than the lift power of the drone. So if the antenna wire that you're hanging or that you're working with caught in the tree, you don't end up hanging your drone, a $1,500 drone, 100 feet up in the tree. So you've got to have, and so I put in a little piece, a few inches maybe sometimes, of like 8-pound test fishing line to lift the first piece of line, and then I pull progressively stronger stuff. But I have a breakaway, so that's something that you could do possibly if you had it such a thing that there was a tension, an elastic cord spring, a weight and pulley system on one side, and then on the other side of the antenna, that is, the weed eater string goes over the road, and then before it's tied to whatever it's tied to, put a weak link that's going to break before anything else. And so if that antenna blows down for some reason, it's going to break there, and the weight or spring system is going to pull that back off, and it won't fall on the road. It'll be pulled to the other side.
Right, and that's what would happen here. If the antenna would come down, it would pull both the weed eater string and the antenna into my property. Based on my measurements, at any given point, if the antenna was to become faulty, at that point, and I agree with you, I was going to use a leader off of a fishing line that was rated for 20 pounds, and it's got two little clips. If anything should exceed that 20-pound rating, the leader would break loose, and it's got a swivel on it. So, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You use crankbaits with, and I was going to use that as a breakaway point. Over.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind. You have that weak link on the far end of the weed eater string, and so if there's any stress on it, somebody pulls on your coax, the wind blows hard or whatever, if anything breaks, it's going to be that weak point, which is on the far side of the street. And as the antenna falls, everything is going to be pulled so that nothing falls on the street. That's the way you've got it set up, and that's exactly what I would do. That would certainly be safe and might even be legal.
Roger. All right, guys, let me say 73s to you, because I need to get out and get it done, because I'm not having a good time on ham radio ever since the tree was removed in the front yard. And it's just not been fun for me. So God bless 73s, Jim Ferguson, and to all who is listening and watching YouTube. 73s from November 9, Golf Tango Oscar.
Roger. Now, this is for 80 meters or for 40?
It's for both. It covers both of them, 80 and 40. It is two of them tied together. One is 3 feet below the other one on the tower at 70 feet, and it covers both bands. It's a double bazooka made out of RG11 with a 3/8 aluminum tubing on the end for the high voltage nodes, tuning stubs. Over.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing you without static, man. You're my next door neighbor, but you are in the noise, Roger.
Roger. Well, I'm only running 65 watts on the 7300 with the hand mic, and I'm running on an 80-meter double bazooka. So, totally a different situation here, and I'm using a Versa Verter 2, a little cheap MFJ tuner that the daughter got for me years ago, a 300-watt tuner setting below the 7300 to prevent any kind of issue. 73s, and God bless.
Roger, sir. Good to talk at you. Have a good day. Be careful getting that antenna up there. So, Alan, let me say threes to you, sir. I think we've resolved the world's issues, and your audio is sounding beautiful, and we will be posting this in the next couple of days up to YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, it'll bring it up, and the title will be today's date, 8/10/18, and the frequency 7189. Roger.
Okay. By the way, the other gentleman, his signal was very weak, really Q5, but excellent quality, and it's not surprising. That 7300 using the hand mic comes with it. It's just an amazing rig for as far as cost benefit. I'll tell you what. If I was buying a new rig, I'd buy a 7300 and use the stock hand mic. Every one I hear just sounds beautiful. He just needs he needs some power in the wire, and you sound like maybe you've backed off slightly from the mic because you sound really good now. Not as breathy as before. So you made some change for the better. I think you might have backed slightly off from the mic. You sound really good. Right now, my emphasis is on I'm addicted to two things. One is YouTube videos, especially funny cat videos. I watch YouTube by the hour. I waste more time. There's just so much cool stuff there. From people trying to make homemade explosives and blowing themselves up to homemade fireworks and strapping jet engines on cars and killing themselves. I just love to watch some people do stupid stuff on YouTube. And drones. I'm having a lot of fun with this drone here. The problem is they're made out of polyethylene and polypropylene primarily, and it's very, very difficult to glue when they break. And they break a lot because you crash a lot if you're pushing it, and it's no fun if you don't push it. And they make glues. I was talking to an engineer, as a matter of fact, who works for Henkel, who makes Loctite, glues for Loctite, and a lot of people. They're kind of like a research lab. And he was telling me how to glue plastics. I'm using his scheme but it still doesn't make a very strong bond. And I'm a little concerned right now that the last repair I made could break, and if I'm 400 feet in the air, and if it's the structural part of the drone, part of it's going to drop sideways, and I don't know what the drone's going to do. Probably that's a long fall, so that concerns me a little bit. So we've got to do a little more study, a little more work with bonding plastics. The one way is to actually melt them together, to fuse them together, but that has its own problems. Anyway, they are flammable. So OFA 73s, enjoyed talking about audio, and I like ham radio, and I like drones, and I like to watch YouTube. Just like you'd watch YouTube, just like you'd watch cartoons. I guess I'm regressing to childhood here. I don't know. Anyway, 73s to everybody. I'm going to get out of here too. It looks like a nice day out there. I'll take the drone out and get some footage and do some practice, so I have a chance of passing my commercial FAA exam. This is W4NCQ in Black Mountain, near Asheville, North Carolina.
Roger, Alan. 3's that away, sir. Have yourself a good day. Good to hear you in there, and we'll catch you maybe next Friday and explore other aspects of ham radio or whatever. Just keep that ALC at about the mid position. 3's, catch you later. It's KC9VKV.
Okay, KC9VKV. Yeah, you sound really good, and I'm doing exactly what you said. I'm keeping it about 56%, and I'm only about an inch from the mic, and I reduced the mic gain to achieve that, and which is what you guys recommended, and apparently it's working. 73, I'm going to pull the big switch here. W4NCQQRT.
3's. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, with the Friday morning QSO-VLOG, actually going into Friday afternoon now for another few minutes. If you have a station, you want to hear what it sounds like, we are running our QSO-VLOG recorder, and we are recording this QSO, if you give us a shout, we'll copy it down and post it on YouTube. So this is KC9VKV standing by. I think I hear a station way off in there. Station calling, come back and try again, please. Nothing heard, nothing above my noise level anyway, so we will say 3s for now. I have enjoyed it this morning, and we will be posting these QSOs on YouTube in the next couple of days. If you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that'll bring up the QSO-VLOG page, and this QSO will be called My Group 81018, the date, and the frequency 7189. So 3 is all. This is KC9VKV, clear.
And I'd like to end this QSO, please don't turn it off right now, by saying that amateur radio is fun in the beginning and in the end, because we get to revisit our childhood through amateur radio. And it's a great hobby, especially if you don't drink or smoke like Lou. And the nerd that I am, I want to say God bless to all who's listening as well. And 73s from M9GTO.
Roger, Roger. 3's over that way. Take it easy on them trees, Roger.
I'm going to go over and bribe my neighbor. One way or another, I'm going to bribe my neighbor into letting me put the damn thing up.
Roger, Roger. And I'm still starving to death for lunch, but, you know, go ahead. We'll do it sometime.
Well, you know, I'm starved to death, too. How about if I just come over and meet you at Burger King right now and I even pay for it?
Sounds good to me, man.
I'll see you at Burger King in 15 minutes.
You got it. See you there. 3s.
On your road. On your road. Yeah, Burger King where you live at. M9GTO clear.
Absolutely. Catch you later. KC9VKV. You see you guys clear. Who is that mumbling back there?
Kilowatt America 4 Delta.
4 Delta Station. This is KC9VKV. Now don't make me late for lunch.
Okay, I just wanted to holler at you. Real strong down here in East Tennessee. I'm not too far from Gatlinburg, the little town of Wallen, kind of southwest of Knoxville, and you got a really good signal, 59++. We're running barefooted, wind to Montana, and a new radio about 2 days ago, ICOM 7300, and the name is Bill, over.
Roger, Bill. Well, you've got the right radio. You have the right radio there. A lot of good comments about that radio. And we are doing our QSO-VLOG recording, just wrapping up. So you will be able to hear that if you want to. Go to YouTube. We'll be posting in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will bring up our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page there will be one show that is listed as My Group 81018, the date, and 7189, the frequency. Roger.
Okay, thanks a lot, and we'll try to do that. And getting familiar with this radio, which I'm learning every day a little bit more about it. So we really like it so far, and we do have an amp, but it's not tuned up for this frequency. So we'll let you run. I know you want to eat, and we've had lots of rain down here. I was hoping to get some yard work done today, but it's too wet. We've had about 1 inch of rain this morning. 7-3, KA 4 days.
Roger, Roger. 3's down towards Gatlinburg. You have a good day, sir, and we'll catch you later. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Will be clear for the morning, afternoon. Clear.